The invisible Dion.
I don't know. I've been there all this time.
I can see your background, but I don't see you.
I have no clue. Let's see.
Oh, there you
Dang!
are. You just appeared out of
I'm
nowhere.
like, I looked myself like, where did I go?
Dion the magician.
I'm like, where did I go? I was here. I was just here. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Hey, guys.
And guess what I got today?
What?
Water.
Got some water?
Yep, some pure life, girl.
Water.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right.
Because that's what we come for on Water Cooler Wednesday, but it's a different kind of water. It's that real estate water, you know.
Right. I'm over here trying. I want to make sure that you share just like me. Share this event with other people so that they can know that we're here every Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Every Wednesday we're
6
here.
o'clock Central Time. We had a good session last week with Maurice.
We did. We did.
Yeah,
It
I
was
was so glad he was able to make it.
right. And we've been on this topic for a few weeks now. So first week we talked a little about credit. Last week we brought in Maurice Holmes from the Credit Restore Station.
Yep.
And then today we're gonna just kind of finish out this month with a little bit more, just a few more tidbits about how to increase your credit because
Yep.
sometimes you may not need a lot of assistance. You might be able to do it by yourself, but we always say that you should definitely refer to a professional and
Right.
get assistance from accountability partners like us, right?
Absolutely.
All right. All right. So today we're talking about a few hacks in order to get your credit where you need to be in order to purchase a home.
Yeah.
And my name is Dion Branch, and I am with Allure Dream Homes, brokered by EXP.
And I am Lisa J. White, the house money mama. The mama that's got the money for your house. I have to explain that sometimes.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm with Nexa Mortgage, where brokers are better, and where we have good evening, and we have all kinds of products for you. Whether you're looking to buy your first home, move on up like the Jeffersons, or whether you're gonna be doing real estate investment, I can help you with the financing.
Yes, yes, yes. So today, let's get started. So let's see.
So,
We
what
have
are your ideas, Dion, for how people can do a little minimum credit score hack? What you
right.
got?
So what I've seen is we've talked about it, and Maurice has shared this as one of the hacks that they normally do as well, which is become an authorized user on a credit card.
Yep.
So this is a good way to increase your credit score. If you know your mom, your parents, your family member, they may have a good credit score and they have a credit card that they're not using because you really don't want one that they're using that's going to cause damage to your credit score. You want to make
Right.
sure that you're partnering with someone that has a good credit score and good financial responsibility, right?
Right. Low usage. Low usage.
And love users, right? And so then you can ask them, hey, can I be an authorized user on your card? That doesn't mean that you're going to be using their card and swiping their card, but it allows you to actually have like an additional trade line on your credit report,
Right.
and then that helps your credit score to increase.
Yep.
So that's our first tip as far as little hacking, right?
Yep.
um Another tip that we have is we always talk about using Experian in order to get to see your credit score. So we'll tell you, we've shared this tip with you all the time, which is to always check out your credit score. The first
Right.
place you want to start is find out which credit score has on it, and Experian has a good way of you being able to actually see your credit at no cost.
Right.
So they'll
Yeah.
give you all of the three, what your credit score is, your report, and then that allows you to see your scores and see your report. But what they also have is, which we don't share much about, is they have a program that's called Experian Boost,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can actually boost your credit score with their system that they have. There's probably a cost associated with it, right? But I'm not sure. Check on your own because I'm not sure.
Right.
Um, but you can use this system to actually increase your score, and a lot of times they might say they might increase it by about 20 or 40 points or so. Lisa, maybe.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would, I, it's hard for me to know what the scores have been changed from sometimes, but I will say that I've definitely seen the Experian boost come up on people's credit reports. And couple of things to keep in mind. First thing, it's only on Experian. So I'm gonna keep that in mind because some people think if they do Experian Boost that they'll get a across the board, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, but that's not really how it works. It's actually only for Experian that you're gonna see the boost. But in some cases, like I got somebody today, I just ran her credit. She has two scores in the 650, but then she has another score in the 500. So what if it's that 500 is in the 500s? I shouldn't say 500, but
Right.
but like let's just say if that was her experience and she wanted that one, to raise up like the other ones, then it might be good for her to use the Experian Boost to raise up just that one bureau. But yeah, that's definitely a good and it works. I've seen it, like, oh, okay. That a lot of times, if people are working on credit, the other two may be lagging behind Experian, but because they did the boost and they showing these positive trade lines and stuff, we do see that as something that's working. So
Mhm.
I
And
do think it is helpful.
when you have that scenario, though, one, we're looking at, you as a lender normally look at the FICO score, right?
Hmm.
But then if they have three different scores, which score do you normally use?
The one in the middle.
Okay.
So if you have a 620, a 630, and a 640, then I'm going to use the 630. It's literally the one that's in the middle.
Okay. All right. So that's a good information for you guys to know. All right.
That is good to know.
All right. All right. So our third tip is to dispute. If there's any errors on your credit report or you see some issues of things, you should always write a dispute letter for to go against what is on your credit score. So a lot of times I've heard, people have different apps like Credit Karma, things like that, and they might just press a button to dispute. That's a way of doing it, but I hear that writing an actual letter is better than actually just pressing the button and dispute.
Yeah, I think Maurice said that too, right? Last week that it
Yeah,
was better to write the letter in
right.
and make them work for it.
Yeah. Right. So definitely make them work for it and do the dispute. And if you want to get examples of letters, you can actually search on social media to get a letter. You probably could also use Chat GPT if you're familiar with that, and
Yeah.
ask them to write you a letter. So you change it a little bit so that your letter is not the same as one that's on social media, or I'm not well, one that's on the internet.
Right.
But so make the letter your own, but that's a good place. Those are good places to start and get a draft of a letter for yourself.
Right. You definitely want to always make sure you personalize it. That was a good point to bring up, Dion, because a lot of times we have to keep in mind that much of this stuff is done electronically. So even, I learned this a couple years ago when people turn in resumes and things like that, like applying for a job, they actually have, I think they call them spiders. You the techie person, so you probably understand how this works better than I do.
Mm,
But they have something that actually goes through the documents, and it's really looking for specific keywords and stuff like that in order for them to determine which resumes they're going to move on to the next step.
yeah,
So they get these letters in, and everybody's the same thing. It's all saying the same thing. Like, okay, we got a response for that real quick, and they just send something
right,
out. As opposed to you send something in, typed out, handwritten, whatever it is, you actually send it into the bureau. Somebody has to open it. Somebody has to read it. And it doesn't sound, it sounds more personal. It sounds, now you have somebody who's vested in figuring out what's going on and, actually taking some kind of action on your file,
right.
as opposed to just kind of going through what we now see in a lot of businesses, and this is going to become even more the norm. It's just kind of the conveyor belt,
Right. The
just
automated
everything
process.
automated, right?
Right. Because you're using something that's standard and so there's nothing, so it kind of goes, it's able to go along with the standard process. Oh, they pulled that off of the internet
Yeah,
and you just submitted it to us. So
yeah,
always make the letter personal, make modifications to it. You can use a template, the internet as a template, but so
right.
you know what to include in there, but make sure you make the letter your own.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hmm.
Very good suggestion. So
Right.
you said become an authorized user. That's one thing you can do. You can do the Experian boost. That's another thing you can do. Then you said you can dispute stuff,
Right.
errors, and outdated information. Basically, anything that's not 100% accurate.
Yeah. You can
You,
definitely
if
dispute.
your address is off by a number or a letter,
Right.
dispute. Right?
And it, and if they're not the original creditor, because a lot of times
That's right,
you
because that's not 100% accurate either. Yep,
right.
that's true.
You've had a credit card with Chase or Credit One or one of those credit cards, and then unfortunately you weren't able to pay it, and so then it went into collection. They're not the owners
Hmm.
of the credit card, so you can dispute that. You don't answer the phone and acknowledge that that transaction with them. You don't
Right,
acknowledge it with them,
right,
and then you also dispute it.
right.
So those are
And
ways to get around it. Mhm.
right. And
But
that's, I mean, and that is accurate for you, because I know sometimes people hear that and like, well, but I do owe it. I do, listen, you don't owe it to them.
right,
That's the thing. You don't
that
owe it to that particular company. You did not make an agreement with that company to pay them. The creditor is the one you originally signed, the agreement with. Because
mm,
anytime a creditor provides money, in the form of a loan or a line of credit or something like that, they make you sign something.
yeah, yeah, they
That's
do.
with them
Mhm.
saying that you agree to pay them.
Right.
So yeah, if
So
somebody else comes up on your credit report, then that is inaccurate.
yeah, definitely. So my last suggestion is negotiate to pay to delete.
Okay,
Okay, so
that's a good
you've
one.
gone through the dispute. Unfortunately, you were not able to get it off of your credit. So now you can say, okay, this is my debt that I owe, but I'd like it off of my credit report. And
Hmm.
so you can negotiate with them for deletion. All right. So talk to them, say, yes, I will pay off this debt. Most of the time they might ask you to pay the whole thing in order to get it off, but you negotiate and say, okay, I will pay, but once I complete my payment, I would like this removed from my credit history.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Um, One of the things I think I would add on to that would be like Maurice. I think Maurice would still be a good resource for something like
Mhm.
that, even if you a do-it-yourselfer. Even if
Yeah.
you decide that you're going to go ahead and you're going to negotiate. You're going to see what you can get out of it. But I would still actually call and do a free consultation with him, and I'm going to tell you why. So Maurice he is a tremendous amount of information, not just in credit restoration, but a number, of other different things. Like, he's a business owner. He does taxes. He understands, funding on the business side, and things like that. So he has a lot of really good information that he can provide. But also, I've learned some things from just talking to Maurice because of the fact that, like, he'll be in the know as far as what particular creditors are doing right now. Like, I
Right.
remember, I think a year, maybe 2 years ago, he was telling me there's a particular creditor that if you pay, even if you don't negotiate it out with them, like if you pay what's owed, then they automatically delete in 30 days.
Yeah.
That
And
might have been portfolio. I don't remember. I'd have to ask him. But
yeah,
just being able to know stuff like that, and him knowing, do they normally negotiate? If they do, then what is that they normally would accept? So that,
right.
having information like that gives you more of a leg up, because when you call and talk to them, then you already kind of know what to expect. It doesn't catch you off guard. He's like, yeah, yeah, I knew they was gonna say that. And so then now you have a response. You know how to
Yeah.
come back
So
at them.
I agree with Lisa as far as reaching out to Maurice, because Maurice, in our last episode, he did share with us as well that he does do consultation. So
Right.
whether you're using him as for a service and actually doing the actual work for you, maybe you don't want him to do the work, but he can also consult with you and advise you on the steps that you can take, and that will help you as far as making sure that you're doing things the right way, and assist you in getting complete with modifying your credit in a timely fashion. So,
Yep.
mm,
Yep. Absolutely.
yeah. So,
Okay.
Lisa,
So
what do you got?
I got some. I got a couple, little things I want to share. Okay. So one of the things that I would say is some people have different takes on this, but this is the way that I typically see the most impactful increase in your credit score, and that would be just simply paying down your revolving debt. Revolving debt would be your credit cards. So whether it's, Walmart, a Chase card, whatever it might be, paying that down. If you have revolving debt, you have a certain amount that you can spend up to. The worst thing you can do is have that maxed out. That's the easiest way to tank your score,
Yeah.
because there's something called a utilization ratio, and that utilization ratio factors really heavily into your credit score. So if you have, $10,000 in credit available, and you using $9,999.97 of it, that's a problem.
That is the problem.
That is definitely a problem. And it will definitely bring down your score. That's one thing. But also it sends a message to the credit bureau that you're living beyond your means. Because usually the way that they're going to think of that is that, okay, if this person has to use all of this money, put this many things or this much amount on credit, then that probably means they don't have any other way to pay for it.
Hmm.
Because if I can pay for something, the thought is, if I can pay for something with cash, why would I not? you know
Right.
but if I have to finance it and keep it on the card, then that probably means I'm living beyond my means, or something is going on where I don't have sufficient cash flow in order to be able to handle my debts and my expenses. So it's a big no. The ideal thing is 10% utilization. So if you have a card that's $100, if it only says $100 as your limit, don't spend more than $10. That's your
Hmm.
10%.
That's your limit. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right. $300. You can only spend 100. Right. No
Mhm.
more um, of that. And then also, when you're paying down, you want to make sure you. A lot of times they say don't pay down all of it right away because it makes it look like your credit is it has your account has been closed. So always leave a little bit on there just in case as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good one. And then, like I said, that if you already are in a place where you've maxed out the cards, as quickly as possible, go ahead and pay them down to at least below that 10% threshold. That'd be great. And you should see a pretty significant increase in your score. Another thing I would say would be, if you, well, you can't, it can never really hurt usually to open another card, but still you want to do the same thing. You don't want to go above that 10% as far as the ratio goes. So new credit does still factor into the algorithm that they use to calculate the credit score for you. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Like, you want to have old stuff, you want to have credit that's been 5, 10, 15 years old, stuff that you show that over time that you've been paying this. Credit cards are really good for stuff like that. Obviously,
Right.
installment loans are different, because if you get an installment loan, that means that you only pay it for a certain amount of time, and then at some point it ends. You're not making payment anymore. The gist behind credit is that the bureaus are looking at your payment history. That's essentially what they're doing. They're saying, how do you interact with creditors? And what they want to see is that somebody can loan you money, and that you will responsibly pay that money back. You won't use too much of it. You're gracious, and that you will pay that money back as you said that you would. So that's
Yeah.
basically what they're looking for to find out.
And a lot of times you can do that. Sometimes you might not be able to get a regular credit card, but you can get what's called a secure credit card.
Uh-huh.
And so the secure card is actually your own money that you're
Your
putting
money. That's
down.
right.
So it's like $500 you have down for a secure credit card.
Yeah,
And so it's a way of you having a card and still reestablishing your credit.
absolutely. So
Mhm.
that's another way that you could that you could start to add to your a few points to your credit report. And then another thing that you could do is actually something like self. I've seen self on a lot of credit reports over the past maybe 2 years, I want to say. So the self, I think kickoff is another one. Chime might do it too. I'm not really sure, but I know the way self works, and they all pretty much work the same. So the self credit app is basically something where they set up for you to be able to pay every month into an account, and they report to the credit bureau, to all three bureaus, as if you're successfully paying on an installment loan. So then that one, it's good because it's something other than revolving debt. So when you think of credit, I think of credit as like a salad. Nobody
Mhm.
wants a salad with just lettuce. We want
Yeah.
lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, croutons or croutons, as some people like to say. But you want it all together, and then some nice dressing on top too. So credit is the same way. You want to have installment loans, you want to have a mortgage loan, you want to have revolving debt. You want to have different types of debt on reporting on the credit, because that's what lets the credit bureau see that you're able to be responsible and trusted in just more than one area.
Right.
So adding the account like a self is a different type of account, because it's an installment loan as opposed to being revolving. And what they do is, after you have paid, like you make an agreement, say maybe 2 years, 12 months, whatever. And after you have paid, now you actually have that money available to you, because you essentially just paid your money into an account. So now
Hmm.
you're able to use that money to buy something, maybe to, I don't know, start another account,
A
whatever.
down payment for your house, right? I
Down
mean,
payment could go toward down payment, towards your earnest money. I mean, depends on how much you have available, and what your needs are at the time. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
that sounds interesting. I had never heard of that before, so that's really interesting.
Yep, I've seen a lot of people taking advantage of it, because I'm seeing it reporting on my. That's why I checked it out, because like I was like, "What is this self thing? What is this?" So I looked it up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, to see what it was. So we got paying the credit cards down to 10% or less as far as the usage goes. We also got opening up a new card, even whether it's secured or unsecured. You could do either one and still keep your usage below 10%. And then we have utilizing something like self, chime, or kickoff in order to get you an installment loan going, if you haven't been able to do that yet. And I got one more. So Something else you can do if you already if you've been relatively responsible, then you may be able to do this. This is not for everybody. So they do look at what your history has been before they decide to give you a credit line increase. But if you can get an increase, that will actually help, because that same philosophy that I was talking about as far as the utilization, that has a direct positive impact on your utilization. Because obviously, if you have more money available to you now, but you haven't spent anything additional, then
Right.
your utilization number actually just went down. Utilization low is good because that means credit score can now be high.
Yeah, and the idea is not for you to go ahead and request an increase and then go use that max of credit as well. So it's not for you to get a $300 increase and now you got $600 worth of debt, right?
Right, right.
Or more. So I always think of it, think of your credit as something that's really special, and we need to start to manage it a little bit better, so that when you're interested in purchasing a house, or you're able to do so, because when what you need is about a 640. Right, Lisa, what do you need in order to actually purchase a home?
Well, for conventional, you want to be at least a 620. For FHA, you want to be at least a 580. We prefer for you to be around a 640, because 640 mean you probably not going to have no problems. 620 and below, you may still have some issues. And the whole goal is, obviously you want to have a smooth, seamless transaction, right? So
Yes,
one of
yes.
the ways you can help me to help you to achieve that is get your score up.
Mm. Does anyone have any questions? You can always put questions in the chat if you have any questions. We do have a few minutes left, but we do want to share with you as well, Maurice Holmes, the Credit Restore Station,
Yeah.
his contact information. So you can always reach him by contacting us or contacting him, and he will definitely take the time to have a consultation with you. You guys, he could share with you how to pull your credit and view it, and then once you have your credit score, you can go over how you can resolve it. He can help you by resolving your credit, or he can share with you some tips similar to what we've talked about right here to help you do your credit.
Yep.
Another good thing is, reach out to Lisa if you're interested in purchasing a home. Lisa and I will definitely be your accountability partners in this process, because we want to make sure that we help you all the way through the home buying process, and sometimes that starts with restoring your credit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then once you got your credit together and you're ready to move on, and we've got you pre-qualified, you can always reach out to Dion Branch with Allure Dream Homes. She's going to take real good care of you.
Yes,
The
yes.
master negotiator, I like to call her.
Thank you very much. So we are always excited to be here with you guys every week. So let's see, no questions.
Nope, no questions.
All right then. Well, thank you for taking the time and coming to join us. We're so excited to be here. Join us next Wednesday.
We'll be
Where
back.
Right, we will be back, and we'll be talking about things in August. We're going to share. We're going into the fall, and so
Yes.
right. So we're going to talk about how to prepare for the end of the year and purchasing a home, because it's not too late.
Not too late. Still got time.
Still got time. All right.
All right.